All right, here we go again. Just to Bavino, you're getting older. Energy drinks are probably not the best thing for you. I would go back to coffee or something like that. And I got some nasty stuff in some of my energy drinks. Can alter you before you know that's changing your health. Caffeine doesn't have those properties. Now, maybe you're just getting caffeine drinks. That's okay. But be careful in the amount, I guess. So, essentially, a congressional inquiry, congressional investigation, that's standard process as a congressman or congresswoman. What I would do is in your phones, I would have your favorite contact numbers, and you do this by calling U.S. Attorney's Office, by calling DHS, says who's my contact in your office here in wherever she was, wherever you are. Who should I call? Who can I get the best response from? Who can tell me what's going on when I need to know what's going on? And that's what you do. And you can request a briefing, but they don't have to give you a briefing. There's a bunch of laws and regulations that define the process. Sometimes they're not allowed to tell you something, or they can't operationally. However, need some yogurt and rice. Some coffee. Delicious coffee. Roasted here in Pennsylvania. Amazing coffee. So, the best way to get a briefing is for 3 or 4 Congress people to get together, maybe even contact the senator so the senator could either come along or send an aide. That's the other thing. You don't have to personally meet, but if the Congress people wanted to meet, it would probably be more powered to actually get a meeting with somebody. But what you want to do is you have the U.S. Attorney's Office at your disposal. You can call the person at the U.S. Attorney's Office that you're related to in some way, with as far as you have their number, they have your number. You call them beforehand so they know who you are. You say, "Hi, I'm," like, you introduce yourself under the right circumstance. You have no knowledge of what's going on. That's already been proven. It's like people that run up on a traffic stop. It's worse than that, but it's similar. The cops are doing their job when they do a traffic stop, unless you have evidence that they're corrupt, and then you turn that into the FBI. I mean, there's a whole process for this. It's been here forever. So you get your numbers together, you put them in your phone. You have U.S. Attorney's Office, you have DHS, you have ICE, you have all these people that you can call. And initially, they're going to tell you this is, an authorized operation. We're doing this. We're doing everything you hear on the internet. Same thing, generally, unless you have specific questions. But you can receive briefings on any previous operation or even an ongoing operation if it's something like, well, the Big Easy, what are they doing here? But it's unlawful. There's no authority within Congress to walk up on an active operation and interfere. There's propaganda on the internet that's false. That makes you believe that something untoward is going on. If you engaged in the scrutiny that you're engaged in on ICE and Border Patrol, on the U.S. House of Representatives, You'd find all sorts of stuff, including fireable offenses, including what she did, whatever that lady's name is, that congresswoman's name. What she did there is really, she could get thrown off of committees and censured and all sorts of stuff. And at a certain point, they could vote to get rid of her. Because she's violating the law. This is not her job to violate the law. And again, for that segment of America that you represent that you don't really care about, right, they would much more accept you if you now the funny part is they went after a T-Lob and she actually did what she was supposed to do. Go look at what T-Lob's doing. That's what she can do. Right. And T-Lob used to be a little radical, right? She learned her ropes there. But she went and she investigated, and then she stood in front of the facility and said, I'm investigating this. And again, I guess it was Deputy Secretary responded, and she, had some things to say, maybe a little bit harsh, but that's the process. An orderly process. So even if people don't agree with you, if you stand there and you look like a congresswoman speaking to people in a controlled environment, you just can't. It's just the way the world is. I mean, people get arrested. White people get arrested every day. And the congressperson is standing there, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right. You have to get out of here. This is Schmo's Bar and Grill. Get out of here. So again, people notice that what you're doing is not appropriate, right? Because it's disruption. It's unlawful disruption. That person represents the president. So again, you're trying to pull rank as a congresswoman over a government official. That's it's a law enforcement officer, but there is no rank there. Right. I've used senators before. I've helped people use congressmen before. So I understand the system, and I believe in it. But you have to abide by the system's rules. So get your phone numbers together. ICE is out there engaged in a process that's lawful. Now, you can nitpick it. And, the one judge, it was one of the most bizarre ones that I've seen. The appellate court already quashed her. Like, get out of here. That's false. And she continued to rule. Like the next day, she released something. She put shit on Bovino. When the appellate court said she was off base, she should have just said nothing after that. Right. He perjured himself. Well, you have to prove that it's a willful perjury. Again, I even believe the guy that pled guilty when Biden was elected. I said stuff online. I don't know. Cops blocked me, so I don't know how much was seen. I don't remember the guy's name. The guy where his taser was taken. You're not always going to be able to provide an accurate statement, as accurate as you can under other circumstances. So let's say I walk into let's say Ross. There's a store where you purchase discount goods that are end of season. Sell they buy lots that aren't they don't want to sit. It's not selling as well. They'll put it in their store, and people come in at a lower price and purchase it. So I walk in there. Manager says, "That person over there is shoplifting." I walk over. It's a Grey Poupon commercial. "My good man, are you shoplifting?" "Yes, sir, I am shoplifting." So again, if I were to report on that, it's pretty easy. But I walk up and I go, "My good man, are you shoplifting?" And he pulls back, conks me in the head. I couldn't quite block it. And we start tussling. And then all of a sudden, his cohorts come over, push me to the ground. He runs out. They run out. I run after him. 50 other squad cars come rushing in. And then you want me to write a report when that's all said and done. All I know is he hit me. Now, whether he hit me at this moment or that moment, I might not accurately report. And again, I'm not telling you that anybody should, lie or not report accurately. But there are, again, as an investigator, we're supposed to be able to identify that psychology. Right. So if somebody tells us something, could they be off? Officers should get the same consideration. Right. So I believe I don't remember Strager or something like that, where he took his taser. That's going to cause a psychological disruption. Got anything? Well, because he was also military. So the whole time in the military, they tell him, if you lose this, if you lose that. I mean, it's like panic. They put panic attack in you. You lose your weapon, panic attack. You lose your mask, panic. Your drill sergeant's trying to take your weapon, trying to take your mask. You got to have 7 eyes in your head. So again, this is in his mind, in his body. He's wired to freak out if he loses his taser. So that hit his head. Well, you could fire him, but I don't believe he should have went to prison. But Biden came in and he took a deal because he didn't think he would be able to beat it. He killed somebody, and that's sad. But again, the last thing I'm going to do is run, because they're all paid to kill me anyway. They got a contract out. They go, any of you cops kill him, you'll be hooked up for life. Some cops are appalled at that type of thing, but they're not going to report on it because they'll lose their life. If you shoot him, you'll be a millionaire. Right. Find a reason to kill that man. They actually articulated that. They told him to find a reason to kill me. You get the chance, you kill him. That was articulated in law enforcement circles. Why? Because they're criminals. And they take money from drug dealers and sex traffickers. Those are people that suicide out Border Patrol people. That's who they were. Some of them were actually probably Border Patrol people. There's the people that get busted for that stuff, and then there's the white-collar criminal that does it. White-collar murder. That's how they think in their head, that it's white-collar murder. It's not really egregious what they're doing. Yeah, I wish they would have did a different color house. That kind of ruins it. It's a white house with black shutters, but right behind it's another white house. And to the right of it, across the street from that one's another white house. The one right next to it's white with a little bit of gray. I guess a gray. Is that a grayish color? And it just makes no sense to put a white house in there. They really blew it. Any other color would have worked. Right. In the summer, it's going to green up in that lot. It's a nice lot. But a white house, yeah. And it's a upgraded house. Now, somebody may have purchased it and said they wanted a white house. They'd be stupid to do that, but I don't know. It may not be a rental or for sale, to a blind person who, they don't know who's going to buy it. So again, it's very easy for a congresswoman or congressman to do their job. Again, the part that they don't understand and they can't get comfortable with is the fact that they may not be able to win that fight. And that's what frustrates them. Well, because people aren't supposed to be here. And just because they're here doesn't mean they get to stay here. Now, I would say some of the cases, again, I can't tell you, I'm sure there's some cases that I'd go a different direction on. But I don't know what information the government has. Which means this: if they know that you're really a crook, it doesn't mean you're going to be charged. They'll try to take your green card or whatever it is. They'll try to get you out of here, even if you have some, process in the court. And one of the main things to understand is the Biden administration just said rubber stamp. That's what set this up. Those aren't amnesty claims. So if somebody at DHS sits down, looks at a case, and says that's not an amnesty case, they can pull it. Right. I don't want to poke fun at people that are in poverty, but I can't buy the right brand dog food. I mean, we're going to get to that if we keep it like going. And I'm sure there's some like that. My dog likes this dog food, and they stopped carrying it in Guatemala, so I'm here to buy it. You got it here. I mean, but it's that ludicrous, some of them, right? Because they're looking for amnesty. This is the point. If they wouldn't arrive here illegally, there would be more work visas, and when they could tell us, look, I want to go live in your country because they got the dog food for my dog. And we go, okay, you just fill this paperwork out. Okay, come on, we got a spot for you. You could come here to just get dog food. See, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. The system actually works, but we have to fix it first. So of all these people that came illegally, there are some, if they never came illegally, and they know that's why I went back home, they could get here possibly legally. Now, some of these people, you have to understand, a lot of Americans are struggling, and there's a lot to that, including the narco money. Because their people are getting more consideration because they're part of the narco fund that bribes all the Democrats and some Republicans. So, but, some of these people have homes here and homes in the nation they go back to. Like, they're trying to go sob story, and they've only been back in their home nation, nation of origin, for like a month or two at the most, and they're already building a house. I mean, what do you want us to believe? They had a home and a life up here, now they're down there doing it. That's okay, but they're not these people you try to put in our heads. And in fact, when I say knock out their neighbor, I didn't mean physically knock out. I just want to say that again, because some would, but they'll just, they'll destroy their neighbor. I've been there. They'll destroy their neighbor for a few dollars. Because they came from a me culture, saying they wanted the us culture. No, they want the me culture. And yeah, there are Americans that do it, and we'll deal with them. But we don't need another, and that's why they got here. Because Americans that are corrupt, the Americans that are me people instead of the us people, they want them here. Because it's a street thug force. Right. Every dirty crook in the world wants immigrants that are here corruptly so they can manipulate them into using them for corrupt purpose. Now, some immigrants are being treated the same way, and, you don't give somebody your daughter, then you get treated shitty in those communities. The FBI has been fighting that for some time. But now what we're doing is we're making it so it's manageable. We can't fight all those cases. And you know that. You bring 50,000 here, it's a lot more difficult than to fight 10,000. So again, within any population of 10,000 people, a certain percentage are crooks. A certain percentage are unethical that will assist the crooks, but maybe not be crooks. We're finding a higher level, a higher number of that in those communities. That percentage is increased. So again, if you're here on an amnesty claim And ICE notices you're hanging out with crooks. You're not a full-fledged gang member, but you're hanging out with the gang members. You help them with whatever. You get some of their proceeds, even if you own a business. If you're too close to the crooks, they're going to be able to identify that. Well, I'm trying to tell you, they're not going to tell you everything that they have on somebody. If they can lawfully pull that application, they're going to do it. Because you're part of the criminal culture. You may not be a criminal where they can charge you, but you're definitely part of the criminal culture. And you're not here as you don't have the rights of a U.S. citizen. You really don't. You have the right to, if you were charged, to go through that process. That's always there for anybody, even spending a day in the United States or even 5 minutes in the United States. But as far as your amnesty claim, it's, Biden administration led you all down a bullshit road. So again, if you're a congresswoman or something like that, a congressman, I would get a group of you together. Again, Michigan versus Mitch. Right. You can either act out or act appropriately, and then you have status. There's places where your status as a congressman and congresswoman work. Well, again, if you go somewhere and you do an investigation, you find something, you bring it back, and you find the committee that's responsible. That committee investigates. Right. You put it on the floor. What you found, maybe they'll let you speak. You just do an investigation. You and 3 other congresspeople, one of you becomes the speaker, or all of you become a speaker, and you do a presentation. This is what we found. But be honest. Don't be like the news, just making up BS. There's corrupt law enforcement everywhere. I'm sure there's some corrupt law enforcement somewhere in ICE. It's just part of the world we live in. Again, a certain percentage of cops are going to be that corrupt. There's going to be a certain percentage of cops that are going to try to make their coworker corrupt so they can get rid of them because they're corrupt actually, and the coworker's not corrupt. Let's try to get something on the coworker. So again, it's just like the rest of the world. But so is the House and the Senate. All right, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.